of course, the work definitely began in earnest right after the last Seahawks lost in the playoffs.
I'm with Tom Gerlach. He has the cell phone for the property manager of the tower building. Would you like him to have someone go over there and clear them?
All right,
now it's not one person, I see three. If Tom can do that, that would be appreciated. They're by the north stairwell on the roof.
All right. You're listening to the warnings that they're giving for people out of place in the area. The perimeter's been secured. The area's closed.
They want to make sure that security perimeter is tight. They don't want anyone there.
All right, we're getting our last-minute notes here, too. Helicopters buzzing overhead. The radio audio from Turner Construction, that's what you're hearing. The countdown stops at what is officially known as 2 minutes in holding. After a check of the security perimeter, the countdown resumes. So that's what we're going through right now.
Now, we heard, though, on the radio that the 15-minute countdown has just begun. That was a couple of minutes ago, so...
But they're on time. They're absolutely on time, and this building is supposed to blow at exactly 8:30. And we're reminded it's going to blow down, not blow up. It's going to implode.
As we are so close to the end of the Kingdome, what must be the thoughts running through the minds of people who love this place and who absolutely don't want to see it
One of the things I'm thinking is we haven't even paid for this building yet, and it's only 25 years old, and we're blowing it up to make way for an even grander facility of the same nature. Too bad they couldn't lift it up, float it away, and give it to somebody who wanted a covered stadium, because it still works.
The debt on the dome is about $200 million, not only for the original bonds, but for maintenance and improvements that have made over the years, plus the ceiling construction in 1994. Let's go to Margaret and Paul up at Harborview Medical Center with their view.
Dennis and Jean, it is now serious business. I'm looking across an empty I-5 at the Kingdome and thinking we are down to single-digit minutes now after talking about this literally for years. What do you think? I mean, this is pretty suspenseful at this point.
I am so excited to see this Kingdome come down. It's been a nice one for Seattle for years, and I'm just thrilled to see it come down.
Well, you're going to get your wish in just a couple of minutes. Paul, I mean, it's hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, it's finally here.
It is hard to believe. I'm trying to get some excitement here, but you people really aren't too excited, are you? Yes. Yeah, you see that? It's really not, it's not that big a deal, these guys. They just wanted to blow it up so you can go home, right? What about you?
We're happy to see it go, but we'd like to see the new stadium up as soon as possible.
All right, well, it's coming soon, sooner than you think.
Say goodbye to the Kingdome. Can everybody say goodbye? Bye-bye, Kingdome!
All right, we're going to do a little thing here.
Well, the excitement continues. Back to you.
All right.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Margaret.
Well, we're about 5 minutes away. We're told the countdown clock has begun and we're underway. And so we're going to get up and move out of the way now. And so you just kind of follow us as we do this. We're going to get out of the picture. We're going to give you a better picture of the Kingdome. And we got to move on our little deck perch here. And people around us are putting on masks and they're putting in earplugs. And we're going to keep talking to you, so we're not going to cover up our mouths, and we're not going to cover up our ears yet. But we are going to get out of the way, and we're going to get into the way of the shot so that you can see us and you can see the Kingdome, because we've got about 4 minutes left to watch it. People here at Safeco Field and the platform are getting out their own personal cameras, recording the last 3 minutes of the Kingdome. As the Kingdome comes down. This is your last chance to watch it, folks, and with this beautiful picture of the Seattle skyline in the background, it's your last chance to see this Kingdome as part of the Seattle skyline. There'll be the Safeco Field, and there'll be the familiar Space Needle, and there'll be all the skyscrapers in the background. But you're not going to see the Kingdome anymore. It's going down. It's going to take about 2 minutes after the siren, and the dome will go down, and then 15 seconds for it to completely implode. It's going to be loud. We're going to leave the audio, and you're going to hear the audio inside the dome, where we have the 4 disposable cameras and audio equipment and microphones set up in there too. So that's what you're going to hear inside the Kingdome.
And let's remind you also, we're going to show you the best shots live, but we'll have tape replay going for all of the other cameras that we have. So if what you don't see when the Kingdome does go down, we have it on tape replay, so stick with us.
You're looking at the top of the dome the last time you're going to see that, and it's all wrapped in a special material so that when the dome does blow, pieces of the rubble don't go up and get loose. They go down inside the building. The compression ring is supposed to collapse inside the Kingdome, and the ramps just simply fall down so that the rubble, such as it is, will will be inside that perimeter area. That's what you're going to expect to see. We've got 3 minutes left, and in 1 minute you're going to hear a warning siren.
Copy.
And then it's going to get quiet.
Jack, would you like to say a few words, please?
It's going to get quiet, and then we're going to take the audio inside the dome.
Prayer. Thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Now we thank you for a superb crew of CDI and the good contractors that we're working for. And we ask now that you'll give us a good job. No one will get injured, and if it's your will, no property damage. And we just thank you for your goodness and grace in Jesus' name. Amen.
And for the Turner roof and the roof of the 76 station are now clear.
You were going to try to proceed with things. Please hook up the blasting machine. You when you're hooked up.
Jack Loazzo, would you like to say a prayer, Dad?
Pretty did.
I'll say more if you like. Sure, that's fine, Pop.
We've taken the clock out of the scene because we are waiting.
Hooked up.
Okay.
We are waiting for the 2-minute warning. We'll hear two 2-second blasts. That will indicate that we're 2 minutes away from the dome implosion.
CDI, we're giving our 2-minute siren.
CDI DVs should be running. CDI DV cameras should be running. You read that, Jack?
About to hear the big
Copy
siren
that.
now.
Kevin? Sullivan? Jason?
Please.
2-minute siren.
Do you have a good, clear visual of the tracks?
Affirmative.
We're waiting right along
Here.
with you.
Clear.
You're hearing the all clear from all the audio at Turner Construction and CDI.
Gene, I'm looking at the dome. I can't believe this thing's not going to be here in 2 minutes.
I can't believe we're so close to it.
I can't believe how loud it's going to be.
here.
You have a good imagination?
Yes, I do.
That was your 2 minutes.
Not good enough, we're told. 100-mile-an-hour winds generated by the implosion of the dome.
67 million cubic yards of air
Earl, are
in the
you
dome.
clear?
Last shot inside the dome is it's
Kevin,
still
are you
standing.
clear?
Clear.
You're getting the all clear
Clear.
from everybody in and around the dome.
Jamie, are you clear? Clear. Jesse, are you clear? Doug, are you clear? Clear. Jason, are you clear?
Everybody here is securing their
Kevin, are
equipment,
you clear?
wrapping their
Clear.
cameras, covering their
Jimmy, are
ears.
you clear?
Clear.
Will, are you clear?
Clear.
Cass, are you clear?
Clear.
You clear?
Clear.
Clear. 1 minute siren, CDI. This is your 1 minute siren.
Weird event.
Stacy, warm up the blasting machine and tell me when you're in the ring. CDI 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
The most unbelievable thing I have ever seen.
And it did as everyone predicted it would do. It caved into itself.
We're watching all the people from First and Goal and Turner Construction give each other big hugs. Absolutely an unbelievable scene. It wasn't as loud as I thought.
I thought it was pretty loud.
It was.
Up here on our platform, it did shake. You can definitely feel the explosions.
Definitely. Our feet were shaking, and I could feel myself shake inside.
You know, as I was watching it, Gene, I heard first you hear the crackle of the detonation cord. There's actually a commercial plane flying over the dome right now.
Absolutely an unbelievable sight to see a completely functional building turn to dust in 15 seconds. Unbelievable feeling to be here and watch this happen. Absolutely unbelievable. We're about to be inundated by this cloud that's sort of coming our way.
You know, that cloud is moving so very slowly, but you could definitely see the dust and debris being blown down accidental.
I got to tell you, you better take a good look at us now, because I don't think you're going to be able to see us in about 10 minutes.
Hey, Gene and Dennis.
Who's up in the Columbia Tower.
Oh my goodness, this is an amazing picture to see as this dust cloud spreads out. There are people down below us on the street who had a perfectly great view of the implosion, and now they are walking and running very quickly to get away from the dust cloud. We saw a lot of people that had hard hats on, and it's good that they did. Unbelievable picture from here. You were here from Mount St. Helens. We remember this huge dust cloud that's poured over the Northwest. It's reminiscent of that. A lot of people running away from the dust. And what a boom and a shake we felt up here at the building, the Columbia Tower Club. It took about 2 to 3 seconds after the implosion, and then we felt everybody in here just popped with kind of a
I just want to let you know,
jolt of our own.
Come to us. We're ready to show you. I mean, you can't see.
Are you in the dust there, Gene and Dennis?
No, we're not in the dust yet, Linda, but you know, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, right.
We can see nothing but dust, and then the top of the Columbia Tower.
You can see us.
We can barely see where you are, and this dust is coming right to us.
Well, the dust cloud
is in the dust now. Alyssa.
Hi, Gene. Sorry, it's going to be kind of hard to even look at you at this point. We got dust all around us. I don't know if you can see my jacket. It's in my hair. These folks right here are... I'm going to bring my mask down for a brief second so you can hear me. Are hiding beneath a tarp that they brought. It really came at us. It was just amazing to see. A bunch of folks were all bellied up against this barricade here, and people pretty much ran right away. I know there's some folks here who aren't wearing any kind of masks or any kind of protective eyewear that are doing okay, but we did have a few people that were a little caught off guard by it. Not only did the noise catch us off guard, but of course that dust cloud, which has really been the big thing we have. I'm going to show you what we got underneath here. I think it's Michelle, who's from Bainbridge Island, is underneath here with her dad. Folks bringing their sweatshirts up to their faces. It was really something pretty amazing to see. Richard, if you can pan down to the ground and you can see right there, I'm going to come around with you where you are here, just so you can get an idea of what this dust looks like. It is just all over the place, all over the folks down here. We cannot even see the sky. Richard, go ahead and pan up, and you can see a little bit of blue there. But outside of that, that's about it. We are completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is. It's getting
with this dust.
It's getting very close to us. It's moving in the direction where we are. It's a good thing it's not a windy day, I can tell you that. And it would have been a better thing if it was a little bit rainy, because the dust is going up and it's going out. It seems to be mostly headed west from where the Kingdome is, but Lisa Cohen, our producer, made a good point. We don't really know if the dome is down, because all we can see is this impenetrable cloud of dust. But we can tell you we saw stripes of the explosives go down the ribs of the top of the dome, and you could see the ribs explode, and then you could see the ramps explode, and then you couldn't see the dome anymore, and you could see just this mountainous cloud of thick, impenetrable, sort of yellow-gray dust.
You know what was amazing, as you can see the explosions go up the columns and across the roof, and just for one moment you think, is it actually going to fall? And then all at once it just started to collapse into itself and pull the sides in, and it went off just as advertised by the implosion people. We're not in the dust. You can smell the dust here. You get just the smell of it, but there's no film of dust anywhere south of the Kingdome, with the wind blowing basically north.
We believe this implosion was likely successful, but we don't have visual proof of that because we can't see anything about the dome anymore.
Just beginning beyond the exhibition hall from where we are, at the base of the dome, we can begin to see some of the wreckage.
We can see rubble scattered around the perimeter of the dome. You can see
they're actually
people
workers
moving in
now.
there already. Yep, you can see debris from the implosion. You can see the streets filled with broken pieces of concrete. You can see some dumpsters overturned. You can see what looks here to be like the small top of a piece of earth-moving equipment that might have blown off that earth-moving equipment.
Now, as we look down Occidental, KJ, if you can pan your camera just above the exhibition hall to the right, you can begin to see what's left of the Kingdome. This is incredible. This is the first signs. This is just unbelievable.
It is just absolutely incredible, and amazingly enough, though we can see nothing of the dome and nothing in a whole block area around the dome, we can see what looks like 2 inches of the top of the Bank of America tower. We can just see the satellite dishes off the top of the tower, and even that now is about to be obscured by this impenetrable dust cloud. The shot I'm waiting to see is when the dust gets thin enough that we can actually see if there's a dome there at all.
It looks like, I see one, looks like a big piece of giant rebar that must be 30 feet, 40 feet tall, just sticking up. Darren Watkins is in Pioneer Square as well.
What can you see, Darren?
Well, we can't see very much. Right after the explosion happened, a large cloud sort of took over the area, turned daylight into night. The first thing we noticed was chunks of what looked like some insulation come flying off and really filled the street. There's a large powder you can see pretty much all over the area. In fact, this is the kind of stuff that we see. This is the larger pieces of what was flying all the way from the Kingdome, which is about 4 blocks away. It filled the air with dust, and it's starting to thin out just a little bit. Just a few folks that were here in the dust as well, saying that they expected to see quite the fireworks and they were excited to see the dome. But then all of a sudden, a lot of blinking eyes and things like that because of all of the powder that has covered the area. You can see it's almost about a quarter of an inch, rather dusty here, that's sort of covered everything. And we are told that that is a fine dust from a lot of the concrete, and that if folks get it on their cars here, they shouldn't try to wipe it off because it can scratch, and in fact, they should just try to hose it off. But it's still pretty dark. We're waiting for the cloud to clear right now and see just what we can see of what's left of the Kingdome.
Oh, Darren, it's absolutely incredible. The dust has lifted, and we can see the ribs of the dome that were on the roof are now on the ground. The dome is down. The dome is done. The dust is gone.
Let's go to King 5's Jim Foreman up in Sky King. Can't wait to see that picture, Jim.
Yeah, incredible, Dennis. We felt the concussion of the dome going down up in the air. It was spectacular. And look at that picture now. Our first look at the dome as it has been reduced to dust. Looks just like all the drawings and all the animations they had. It just fell in on itself. It is just a spectacular piece of demolition engineering to bring down the dome, just like they said, collapsing on itself. Now, the other story is the dust. There is a thick coating of dust all over the area immediately around the dome to the north. The dust cloud is to the southern edge of downtown. We have not seen any signs of damage of broken windows or anything in the other buildings. We'll keep an eye on that. Traffic now just starting to flow again. I'm Jim Foreman live in Sky King over what used to be the dome.
Jim, it's absolutely unbelievable. The dust has lifted, and we got the first shot of the rubble here. And as you look over the new exhibition center, and then you look to what's the beginning of the new construction that Paul Allen has started, where the stadium is going to be, you can now see the ribs that used to be on the roof of the Kingdome laying horizontally on the ground, and you can see piles of rubble. The dome's gone. The dust is gone. The dome is no more. It's
looking
done.
at the Sky King shot, it looks just like the animation we had
exactly
prior
it
to
was
the
supposed to be.
implosion.
Exactly.
And it looks like They said there would be about 60 feet, the columns remaining about 60 feet high. Some of them maybe, but I think it flattened even more. Here's some of the
Absolutely
replays.
unbelievable. This is what happened. This is the replay of the implosion that went off exactly as scheduled at 8:30 this morning. And they told us how the explosive devices were lining the ribs of the dome, and we could see the ribs become electrified. It looked like giant firecrackers, and you could see the ribs just explode and then start to disappear. And we didn't have visual proof that the dome was gone until the dust
goes. It's just sitting there. And you wonder, is it going to go? And there it goes.
Absolutely unbelievable. And the place where we were shook. You could hear this tremendous ongoing explosion. And everybody here just said, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. A
Margaret
building
and
totally
Paul,
functional, blown to dust.
Margaret and Paul up at Harborview, what was it like up there?
You know, we could actually see this just exactly as you described it, just like our animation showed it, with the explosions going up, the ribs of this whole thing just falling down, and then it disappeared behind this cloud of dust that is just now catching up with us. But you are right. That is one of the most amazing things I have ever seen.
Saw a couple of seagulls up there, up along the ridge of the Kingdome. Everybody here was like, those poor seagulls, they don't know what's going to happen.
That's not good news.
I think they got out in time, though, just for you environmentalists. They're okay.
But still, here all the way over across I-5, it was really loud, and you could feel just a little vibration, not what you guys have felt over there at Safeco, but an incredible sight. Lori and Alan are standing by at Jose Rizal Park, I believe, and I'd be interested to hear what they have to say.
Gene and Dennis, it was absolutely fantastic from this point of view. I didn't have an automatic shutter, and I should have had, because I only squeezed off, I think, one picture of the dome standing with the explosions going off, and then it was just a dust cloud.
Yeah, it sure went down in a hurry, and the perspective that we had, the dome was just a little piece of the whole big picture here, and very surreal to see the crackling fireworks on top of the dome, and all of a sudden, ka-whoop, it's gone, and that cloud just surging into downtown from the south. Very wild. Want to bring in, as we look at replays, want to bring in Lynn Perkins and Nicholas Rousseau. Lynn, as you watch that thing, as a Seattle native, right? What did you think?
It's kind of an engineering miracle going up and coming down. And here's to Jack Christensen who designed the original thing.
All right, cheers to Jack Christensen. Also, Lynn Perkins, describe what was going through your head. The dome just got wiped out in about 17 seconds.
Yeah, it was. It kind of crumpled. I've seen a couple of things come down. It was a little different than I expected. I'm kind of sad about it. I'm an engineer and a preservationist, and I think it's kind of a sad reflection at the moment on our society that we choose to blow up a building like that.
And engineers absolutely love this thing. This was a tremendous work, wasn't it?
It was an incredible feat of engineering, and I think where it's going back up is probably not going to nearly marvel that, but architecturally it left something to be desired. So.
All right, some sadness here. Lori?
One other note, I think it's interesting, people in downtown have to be careful. I don't think they can see on those streets, 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, even 3rd. That cloud is definitely drifting into downtown, so if you're on the streets or planning to be on the street, don't go there yet. Don't go there yet.
Also, tremendous cheer here on the bridge. We didn't feel the concussion actually from the building itself, but you can feel this bridge going a little bit as people just let up a huge cheer from here and on the hillside down to our left, just southeast of the dome. We should tell you now, traffic is moving east on I-90 now. No traffic yet on I-5. What was that? Okay, no traffic. The highways are clear still and will be for a little bit, a little while, as we take the opportunity to show you more examples of the Kingdome's 24-year life ending in a matter of seconds. Pretty amazing. It just didn't seem real from here.
It didn't seem real, and like I said, if you blinked at the wrong time, you might actually miss it. But it did seem that all the explosions went up the ribs and the columns as planned, the roof came down, and then came the huge dust cloud. Things are beginning to break up here at the 12th Avenue Street Bridge as people go about getting breakfast, going on home, going to church, whatever they plan to do. but I tell you, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it's time to just get on with another Sunday, isn't it? Sort of odd. Here we were waiting for hours. It's over. It's done. As one woman just told me, flushed. The Kingdome is gone. Let's take it back to you, Dennis, Gene.
All right, Alan, Lori, thank you. I got to say, my reaction as I look at this pile of rubble and the twisted rebar, and KJ's going to give you a shot of what what's left of the dome looks like. It's a funny feeling that I have because this building was only 25 years old, and it worked. Everything in the dome worked, and crablooey, you blow it up and it's gone, to make way for something very similar in terms of function, a little different in terms of design, but it didn't suit the community's needs apparently, and so away it goes.
It's flat as a pancake.
It's a very funny scene to see, and the enthusiasm that the people who are in charge of blowing it up felt for demolishing a building, and the cheers that went up from this platform. It was just a funny feeling seeing people thrilled to this destruction.
It is strange to see it is as flat as a pancake right now, or as flat as it can be. You can see a lot of dust on the roof of the King Street Station.
I can feel some of the dust now on my nose and throat.
I'm looking down Occidental, and and a lot of the workers there are probably checking for peripheral damage on the businesses and the buildings that line Occidental. And you got to believe there may be some, because of you can see very small chunks of concrete. I'm looking at the FX McCrory's building, and I'm looking at windows to see if any had been blown out. I don't see any blown out at this time.
I'm looking at the Amtrak train station covered in dust. I mean, you couldn't see the clock tower at the train station, and the roof and the windows of the train station are covered in dust. Jim Foreman he's got a clear shot. It's probably not dusty, and it probably wasn't quite as noisy where you, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah, but we heard it and definitely felt it. There's what's left of the Kingdome. Now let's pull out, talk about the dust cloud. It is now kind of drifting to the north and to the east. It is now up over First Hill, the hospitals, and it is taller than the Bank of America Tower, and it is drifting also into the southern end of downtown. So we still have a thick dust cloud here, and it is drifting very slowly. Traffic is still being held at a standstill on I-5. I-90 starting to reopen again. So that's where you can see. We're just drifting now over Pill Hill now, First Hill, and the dust cloud seems to be moving this way, so close those windows. Back down to you guys.
Oh, thank heaven for that little southerly breeze, because it's blowing the dust away from us and blowing it into downtown Seattle, so drive very carefully. And the roads are still closed in some of the areas around here, so drive with caution if you're headed into town. We have an infrared shot of what happened inside the Kingdome. We understand it's very cool, and we want to show it to you now.
This is from Jose Rizal Park.
This is a replay as the dome goes down. It's an infrared shot. All right, so you're seeing what we saw.
There's your light show. There's your fireworks.
And there's your dome, folks.
There's the New Year's Eve celebration, as some people have said.
That was the replay. See, that's why the sign says replay. It was a replay of the New Year's Eve you didn't have.
I think that's what I want to see again. I'm sure we'll see it again. We'll have to rack it up.
There we go. There we go. The infrared instant replay from Jose Rizal Bridge up on Beacon Hill. And there's what it looks like now as the dust lifts.
We're expecting in just a couple of minutes a press conference with Tom Gerlach from Turner Construction, and assuming that he'll be up here to give us an update to pronounce the implosion a success. Also, we would hope to hear about any of the peripheral damage to the buildings and the businesses just immediately adjacent to the Kingdome. Again, it's not readily apparent if there is any. We don't see any windows broken from this vantage point, but that's not to say that there aren't a couple of broken windows somewhere in the immediate vicinity.
Well, there's a lot of dust. We can see that from here. And there's rubble scattered on Occidental, and we can see a lot of the people who are allowed inside the perimeter just kind of walking around, moving stuff out of the way. We haven't seen any earth-moving equipment go in there and start scooping stuff up, or street sweeping equipment getting rid of the dust. But I can tell you, I can feel it. I can feel the dust in the back of my throat and feel the dust in the back of my nose, even though the biggest part of the cloud is now moved north of here towards Smith Tower and towards First, Second, and the Viaduct. That's the direction in which the wind is taking the dust now. The dust cloud is largely dissipating. Didn't take long. I mean, it was 10 minutes, and the most of that big dust cloud had left the dome and moved towards
Pioneer
downtown.
Square is readily visible from our vantage point right now. As we think about what just happened, it took just a matter of about 20 seconds as the dome is reduced to dust. Well, it's reduced to dust, and it's reduced to big chunks of concrete as we watch the replay.
And it's going to take...
It's really an amazing scene.
It is absolutely amazing. It was a strange, strange feeling just standing here watching this tremendous destruction. Implosion.
What is left of the side of the Kingdome? It will take about another 4 months to grind those large pieces of concrete down to manageable size to be carted away or used as fill for the new stadium.
Well, Bob Collier of First and Goal told us in an interview earlier this morning he wished he could have just floated it up and taken out to the Sound and dropped it in there rather than imploding it and creating all this dust and rubble, but that wasn't meant to be. I sort of wish they could have floated it up and given it to a city that wanted a covered stadium.
I tell you, the people with the demolition company must be awfully, awfully proud of themselves because they advertised that it would just cave in on itself, and as we saw until the dust took over the picture, it did exactly that.
The guy from Control Demolition, Mark Loazzo, said that his daughter Stacy is very sought after because she has such a fun job. Kids are always writing her and saying, we love you, we want your job. Because you get paid for doing what we'd love to do, which is blow stuff up. Very cool.
That's the scene from Elliott Bay. John Curley is on one of the Argosy boats and witnessed what you are now seeing.
Yes, Gene, Dennis. God. I think it was me saying, oh my God. It was really interesting how the sound traveled across the Sound. The Kingdome was, of course, known for having probably some of the worst sound if you've ever been to any concert there. Many musicians had difficult times being heard, and it's ironic, I guess, but somewhat appropriate that the last few seconds of the Kingdome, it would take us almost 5 seconds to hear the blast out here on board the MV Kirkland. And you know what? In the time it has taken for the Kingdome to come down, I have perfected, Gene and Dennis, the recreation here. Does everybody on board want to see this thing go? Yeah! Here we go. Are you ready, Kev? Here we go. Give me a countdown from 3. 3, 2, 1. There we go. All right. Finally. That's a Gold Bond medicated powder, Gene and Dennis, that might be blowing its way over towards you. And Dennis, I know you might need a little bit of that. You're a very active guy.
Why, thank you, John. We've got plenty of it over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, the dome has turned to dust, folks, right here before your very eyes. And now even the dust is gone. And all we're seeing is rubble and rebar. That's what's left of the Kingdome.
You know, we at our vantage spot, if you look into Safeco Field and you just engage in conversation with our colleagues there, and you turn around and look where the dome used to be, and it just doesn't seem to be real.
It isn't there. No, it doesn't seem that it really happened. And it happened so fast, you have to ask yourself, is the dome really gone? The dome's gone, and it's turned to dust and rebar, and the dust is gone. It's gone up to Harborview, understand, where Paul Sylvia and Margaret Larson are standing by.
Quite right. It looks like it's snowing here. I don't know if you can see all the particles in the air. I just took my glasses off, and I'm looking around at a whole crowd full of people holding cloth over their noses and mouths. This stuff smells bad. I don't know what that is exactly that we're smelling, and the particles are a pretty good size. As you were reminded before, if it lands on your car or anything else important to you, it should be rinsed off rather than wiped off because these particles are a little bit sharp, and it's obscured the sun, gone completely over the Bank of America building, past Harborview, and on over First Hill. It's nasty stuff. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Margaret. It's probably not healthful for the people who are staying at Harborview for the recuperation either. So hopefully the dust blows away pretty soon and it doesn't leave any damage behind. But boy, there's just a whole lot of damage where the Kingdome used to be, and parts of it are going to have to be chopped up further before they're hauled away because there are huge chunks of the Kingdome left. It's not just dust. They're huge chunks of what used to be the Kingdome. Some of the ribs that you can see that are not completely demolished, and some of the walls and the ramps, you can make out very, very large chunks of debris that will have to be pulverized before it's hauled away as dust.
Part of what we're seeing down on Occidental, a lot of workers in safety vests, and they're going to be checking the utility lines. There's quite a number of gas and electric and water lines down under Occidental. They were checked prior to the implosion, and they're being checked out right now. So the gas people and the power people are there just in case anything has gone wrong. But by what we see from this vantage point, everything seems to have come off without a hitch, and there are apparently no utility problems
And
anywhere
even
near.
the construction that's already begun on the new stadium is standing. You can see a tower with the scaffolding going up the side, and that all seems to be intact, and that's part of Paul Allen's new construction for the new stadium. And the old stadium's gone. The construction company people are going to hold a press conference in just a few minutes, and Tom Gerlach is going to talk to us. And it'll be interesting to get from their point of view whether the demolition was as successful as it appears from this vantage point to have been.
Well, that's the company that took out the $100 million insurance policy, so they have a great stake in what happened today. And we're just about ready to hear from Mr. Gerlach.
Turn the tables and do a little video of you guys.
All right, he's got his camera. He said he was going to do a little video.
Let me
of the
say
media.
this right
Here's
from the
Tom
beginning
Gerlach
when everybody
of the
saw on
construction
TV.
company.
I think I now know how Mike Holmgren and the Seahawks are going to feel when you win the Super Bowl. It is without question a great day for the team and a great day for the city. And I want to start right from the beginning and thank all the cooperation we had from all the city departments, county departments, state departments. Fantastic coordination, excellent command center structure. And wanted to talk just a minute about where we are in terms of moving the site along. And Mark will be here in about, I hope, 10 or 15 minutes to talk about the actual shot itself. We had a textbook implosion. Everything went exactly as we had hoped. We have very little, as far as I can tell, debris outside the footprint. Certainly, high 90s, 99% perhaps, right where we wanted it. I came down First Avenue. We have some fireproofing material out there that's very light and got blown with the dust. I didn't see any concrete whatsoever on First. The cover, the initial assessments of the cover on Occidental was also excellent. And, basically everything went exactly as we planned. The process now, as you know, is that we're taking a look at the rubble, which is actually very flat. And pretty soon CDI will be turning the site over to Amman. And we are still in a command center structure where Jim Santoro from CDI and the police department and the fire department, which is the lead agency, are controlling the perimeter and also access to the site itself. We're starting cleanup immediately. We have quite a lot of people here, a small army of equipment and personnel. We're going to work from the outside in. As soon as the dust gets completely dissipated, we'll start cleaning up. I do have a couple of reports of broken windows. As you know, our office is right across the street. We're in a renovated 1910 building, and we did have a couple of windows crack. And Tom from the landlord has already called me, and we're going to send a cleanup crew. With that, I'll take any questions. I think, I don't know about you, but when we talked about choreography for the last 3 months, and those ribs went right across your vision, it was exactly as we had hoped it would go. And certainly are looking forward now to continuing construction on the stadium itself.
Tom, any more damage that you've been able to assess to the new stadium?
I drove as slowly as I could. I couldn't come down Occidental because it was closed off, but I came down First. And certainly the southwest stair tower, which is our new stadium, looked great. The exhibition center looked great. I did see some blown cover off, which is not unusual, the geotextile fabric line in the street, one of the parking lots. But the early assessment of Occidental was great. We're in good shape. And Mark has walked up and down Occidental, so when he gets here, he'll give you a first-hand report.
Can you describe your own emotions, like when the countdown went silent, and then when you saw the direction that it appeared to be going, just inside, describe the feeling?
Well, it's definitely indescribable. You could see first the charges, exactly as Mark and Stacy and Doug had promised us. Everything was in rhythm. Everything was absolutely sequenced. And then all of a sudden you realize that the building was coming down very fast. And then the next thing you know, the dust cloud is coming right at you. And I saw the Turner sign flapping in the breeze, going at about 30 miles an hour, about 200 feet away. So it was perfect.
Were you surprised at all about the quantity of dust? That was perhaps the most striking from here. We were all warned about dust, but there was a tremendous amount of dust in the air. It obscured it pretty quickly. More or less dust than you expected?
It's about what I expected. As you remember, on the day we announced the date, I said if you were at ground level, what you would see was dust. That is exactly what I saw. It was dust. And all I can remember actually is the ribs going, because after that it was dust. So it's really just what we expected. And with all that rubble inside, which is, crushed concrete already, that has dust as well. So when the upper deck hit, we also had a reaction from the pile. A little more fireproofing came out. There is some structural steel in the dome, and we lost the fireproofing. It's very fibrous, but it'll clean up quite easy. Basically, ducked out of the way of the dust, and then the CDI spotter started reporting in that it was a very flat structure, that everything looked good. Within about 45 seconds, we had an assessment. We were in good shape. Railroad was clear. Occidental looked clear. And that's where we are right now, to tell you the truth. You thought there would be more debris, more rubble piled up higher. Yeah, it's a lot flatter than I thought it was. Coming down first, I didn't see anything over 50 feet, but the dust cloud was still there. And my guess is that Amman will start moving some rubble today if they can. If we get an all clear, they have all their people here, there's no other damage, we'll start working today.
Talk a minute about the goals you have for businesses around here. How soon do you think that